I don't know whether Kirby meant to do this, but a little bit he sort of blames it on the players on the 4th down and 11, and by saying that if we had snapped it a little quicker, it was his call. It was a bad call. Don't you think it needs to be worded a little different? I made the call. We just didn't. I don't want to blame that on the players.
I agree. Before we get started on that, you get up this morning, Coach Myers retired, and guess who's coming out of retirement? Hootie and the Blowfish. So,
yeah.
But we started off with that. But going back to the situation, there's after a game or during a game, whatever you want to call it, there's usually just 3 or 4 big plays that jump out at you, situations, and I always emphasize the kicking game. And and there's 2 plays in that game, the missed field goal, which would put Georgia up by 3 scores, I think, and then you get to the other one, even though it was a fake punt. And I always put it in the kicking game categories. And so that's 2 big plays. And with the situation being 3rd and 11, I guess it was, around 3 minutes or less than 3 minutes left in the game.
4th and 11.
And what you do defensively in that situation, you leave your defense on the field. The terminology, you yelling and giving the baseball safe sign to let you know that safe punch, you stay on the field. And from that point, what surprised me a little bit now that maybe Alabama didn't call timeout just to reassure the players that it truly is a fake situation. And heck, but Nick might have not called timeout because he wanted them to do it.
But he already knew it, what they were doing.
Because 3rd and 11 is a lot of yards to make up, and with Alabama's defense, the way they can run, you had to have something special called. But going back to what you're saying, you're never going to put the blame. Everybody's accountable in a game, players, coaches, etc. Those are the things you try to teach your players. But at the same time, undoubtedly, maybe they should have practiced it more. If there was a hesitation on, in other words, we had it there and, it was there, but you're dealing with a bunch of 18 to 22-year-old young men in a pressure situation. Sometimes there is going to be hesitation. And, I mean, it was dead on when the talented freshman quarterback is in the game. I mean, something's up, but I don't know. Maybe
I was just asking about what he said to the press. I
disagree that you never put it on the players, and
no, you don't.
So you just dance to the music and say that's on me, and made a mistake, should have punted the ball and hopefully down it inside the 10 or inside the 5-yard line and made them drive 95 yards to beat you. So you never put it on the players, but at the same time,
Curly, what did you think about? It's unfortunate because that one call makes people say that Coach Saban outcoached and their staff outcoached Georgia, which I don't think is the case. Georgia coached a terrific game. You take that one play away, they were executing. They were getting to the quarterback. They were moving the football. They were moving the chains. What was Georgia doing different, or is it just a talent that they have to be able to execute the system that they ran against Alabama?
Well, with the situation where it started off, I think Georgia had Alabama off balance, and you go back to early. I mean, Georgia is converting the 3rd downs, moving the chains, and I keep putting those 2 situations in there. You start the game, and Alabama has the outstanding punt return. I always said, the kicking team on the field, make sure you do something, don't hurt yourself, but when you do something to excite the other group coming on the field, that's a big plus. So Alabama's got a chance to go up 7-0 or 3-0. Instead, they throw an interception. But even with that, Georgia was dominating on 3rd down conversions for the first probably close 3/4 of that game. Alabama goes minus, minus, plus, minus, minus, minus. Georgia goes minus, plus, minus, plus, 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 plus on 3rd downs. But here's the difference where the Alabama made a little bit of a change in that. Alabama goes +5 on 3rd down conversions, and I think Georgia went like 6 or 7 minuses on third down conversion. So you put that in there, and that's where the momentum changed. Is Alabama's defense started doing some things to slow Georgia down. But I still go back to those two big plays, the missed field goal and the safe punt situation that just totally like a bomb that blew up. And then, of course, you throw Jalen in there and 5 for 5 on third downs. But it was an exciting game, and that's. No, I don't think Nick out-coached Kirby. Had a couple of situations in there, and it didn't work. So I think both of them did a great job of coaching their players, and it comes down to usually 3, 4, 5 plays in a ball game that you can put an asterisk by as a difference in the game.
Yep, no. I guess we ought to talk games. There's 3 things that's going to hurt Tua in this voting for Saturday, or if the voting's already occurred. And it really doesn't matter. It's team first, but the dislike for Alabama is one of them. There's a lot of people who don't understand football that have a dislike for Alabama. The entry that he tried to play with, he was not as sharp. And I think also they'll want to go back to these people who think they're real smart and decide that the fourth quarter where he didn't play and all that kind of stuff is a factor. And I think because of those 3 things, that Tua will have let me just put it to you this way, a very difficult time of winning the award on Saturday night.
I agree with you, and I've said, probably William Bear since about the middle of the season. I thought it was a 2-horse race. Now, a lot of people, they'll watch their team play and they won't watch other teams play and keep up with the stats or so-called that. I've thought it's been a 2-horse race for a long time between Murray and Tua. The injury in this ball game, from the first part of it, he was 3 of 8 in the first quarter and a half. And, yes, the injury ties into that thing. And, yes, there is a dislike. It's always a dislike for a team or an individual. And in the individual sports that's dominating, and that's always a factor. And here's the the one plus that a lot of people are saying, well, Tua didn't play in the fourth quarter. Oklahoma's done a heck of a job, Wilton Berry. They went back and they've taken out fourth quarter stats for Kyler Murray, just eliminating them from his stats, and his stats are still equal to better than Tua's. And, geographically, the voting, it's always been this way. Different parts of the country, they going to have their so-called favorite that they're going to vote for, and that's the reason splits. I'd be honest with you, I wish somehow that it would come out a tie between both of them, because people who have not watched Kyler Murray play a lot, he's done this every ball game. And can you imagine going on the field every series knowing you got to put points on the board, 7 or 3, or you got to change field position, and whether you don't score. And he's done that all year, and he is a different cat because he can throw it. He has great vision, just like Tua, but he has wheels, meaning speed, that's equal in modern day times of other quarterbacks that have played. The kid from Louisville a year ago, and maybe Reggie Collier at Southern Miss years ago, those guys were bigger. But this kid can throw it, and he can fly. So I'd love to see it be a tie, disregard Tua getting hurt. But, I think that Kyler Murray went maybe at the finish line, went one up on him.
Curley, why? And I don't think anybody can give me a good answer to this. Why do you have the vote now? Anybody that's going to be up for the Heisman is going to be playing in a bowl game. Why don't they wait till everything's over, the national championship's on that Monday, and then Saturday have a great reward show and everything's done now? Because, if you hadn't cast your vote, these two are going to play each other. And I just don't understand, why do they want to do it this weekend, not wait till everything's over?
That's the way they've always done it, and sometimes people don't want to change. And I agree with you, and I've said it all along, that you wait till all the games have been played, and you've got a little bit better indicator. And in this case, of course, I don't know how healthy Tua can get, even with that sprain in less than a month. But I've always said that, and Barry, this is the thing that is shocking. Some people went ahead supposedly and sent their votes in before that ball game, and I don't understand how they can do that. But they say that probably 10% of the voters had gone ahead and cast. So if that's cast their vote, if that's the case, I think Tua is still very much in it. But if they waited till after this game, but bottom line, I agree with you. Wait till all the dice have been rolled and pick it and be legit, then you have a great Heisman banquet at the end of the year. So,
Kirby, switching over to Auburn for a minute, the people that came in and decided what they decided have absolutely killed Auburn's recruiting. It's wiped them out. They're not going to, and players win games, not plays. Offensive coordinator's gone. They're trying to get the kid from Clemson, whatever. They may get him, may not. They've got themselves in a mess where I don't even know if their season tickets will be real strong because they want to get rid of the coach so bad, but they don't really have anybody that take his place except the defensive coordinator for a year. So he's agreed to do whatever. I think I've already announced what I think he's going to do, but he's going to stay and try to win a bunch of games with. But the recruiting's gone, isn't it?
Well, anytime there's the consistency of the negative comments, it does affect recruiting, and that's the lifeblood of your program. And you got to try to fight through that. Then you got to fight through the mental, the positive attitude of the current players, and you keep them positive, and it's a drain on you, and it just sometimes that. It doesn't go away, but I've said all along what Auburn needs, what Gus needs is for that type of offense that he knows, that he loves. You get him an athletic quarterback, a guy that can run and throw, and you go back and find you a couple of running backs that can pound it and break it and do things that you got to have. And so I think that's their biggest problem. You could take
players
going back to the Heisman, you could take Tua and Kyler Murray, either one of those, and put them with Auburn's offense. They'd have a little bit different situation now. But when those negatives get to breeding, and if there's a one or two big money guys that doesn't like that head coach, that just adds to it.
How would Jalen Hurts do down there?
Excellent. Jalen Hurts is an outstanding quarterback football player and leadership, and he's got ability. And that's the reason you go back and look up all the stats since he's been playing. And I'll say this, and a lot of people may disagree with me. If if Tua was at another university that had not arrived at Alabama would be in a very similar situation right now, I strongly believe, with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback during this long stretch. But I've said all along, Alabama's got got the greatest quarterback situation right now that any school in the country's had for a long time. They got two that can win.
Curley is a long way away, and I think that's bad for Oklahoma. You give Nick Saban this long to get ready for a game. I heard a guy tell us yesterday they'll spy the quarterback. Tell us what that means. They'll get somebody and spy Murray. A lot of time, Nick Saban has proven that he can really get his football team ready to play. What is spying the quarterback? What does that mean?
That means you got a guy, and because of your alignment that you start with, a lot of times you spy him with a linebacker, and because that whatever front you in there, you got a guy, and he sets in the hole. He pretty much stays head up on that quarterback with a cushion between him. That if he does pull it down, then you got an inside out on him, or if it's maybe to the wide side of the field, he may shade him a little bit more that way. And because you're dealing with a guy that we hadn't seen, well, we've seen two of them, the cat at Louisville last year, and is in the NFL now. And sometimes, Barry, when you've got a spy on him, that's the reason if you got a safety spying on him instead of a linebacker, you got a little bit better chance, because when this kid pulls it down, he will outrun. If you don't have a super angle to slow him down, he will outrun that linebacker, and there's a good chance he will outrun that DB. Now his first step is the best step in football, and he's the fastest guy on their football team for 40 yards, and he does it quickly. So that spy guy better have a good angle, and you better make him change his angle or his space, or he'll run by you. And the guy told me the other day, he said, "Well, they'll just blitz the hell." A couple of days ago, he said, "Alabama will just blitz the hell out of that kid," and that's cardinal sin, because you blitz him,
you overrun him.
You got guys playing man to man back there, and they run him with the guy, and their eyes are not back in there. Then you in trouble. And Clemson, we used to love for people to try to blitz us with Homer Jordan. Of course, Homer's not like this, but finally people quit blitzing because Homer could pull it down and pop it for 10, 15 yards, whereas this kid can pop it the distance. So spy means I've got the quarterback. Kind of man-to-man basketball.
Yeah. I knew what it meant, but boy, you better find somebody that can run. But I think Nick Saban will have a plan. I really do.
I don't think there's any doubt. Nick will. They'll go A through Z in every situation, whether it's offense, defense, kicking game, and I guarantee they've already all those teams, those analysts, and the young coaches breaking the films down. They got everything broken down: 1st and 10s, 3rd and longs, 3rd and medium, waist down situations. All that stuff has already been done for pretty much every game that they want to look at on Oklahoma, and he will have everybody there doing something with the breakdown.
Is Clemson good enough to beat? I know you're going to say yes. I don't know why I asked the question, but I may put it the other way: is Notre Dame good enough to beat Clemson?
I don't think so. I don't think they got enough athletes to do it. And Notre Dame is a good football team, but I'd like to just see them play in a championship game or something. But that's here or there. Notre Dame's got a lot of power, but I don't think they got enough athletes to beat them. Of course, Clemson can turn the ball over, et cetera, and do those kind of things. But the one question mark on Clemson is the terminology now that a lot of people use is the back end. In other words, their DBs. I'm not real sure if they've got the kind of DBs like Alabama's got. Now up front, I mean, they got one of the great defensive fronts that we've seen in a long time. And offensively, they can move the football, but I don't know if they've got the DBs like, say, in Alabama. But Notre Dame will be jacked up to play, but I don't think they got the overall athletes that Clemson's got.
Currently, last question. How difficult is it? I think it's really difficult. Is it for Kirby, even for Ed Orgeron, taking on the Knights, UCF? These teams play in the SEC. They play big games every week. They all want to get to the Final Four. They don't. How difficult is it to have these guys motivated to play in a bowl game that really, for these guys, will say really doesn't mean anything? A lot of these guys will say they're not playing. They're going to get ready for the NFL draft. How hard is it to hold your team together and have them ready to play in this bowl game?
Oh, I think it's difficult, but at the same time, bowl game's supposed to be fun. You let them have fun, but then you practice them. And I know if you just go out there and you work their fannies off like you're supposed to during the bowl practice, then you give them breaks and you work the young kids and you make it fun. And you got to do a good job of motivating, like you said, with the Kirby situation and Coach O's situation. But I'm anxious to see the LSU Central Florida game, because I promise you now, Central Florida will be jacked up to play.
Yeah.
And if they happen to pull that off, it's going to add fuel to the fire on this eliminating a certain team, and I wouldn't be shocked if there's not an upset there, because offensively they can move the football, and it'll be interesting. They should have gone ahead years ago when Coach Bryant had that idea, and he had the Woody Hayeses and all his old buddies that was agreeing with him. Get about 72 teams, and you divide them up, A, B, C, D, 18 in each one of them. Then you split those 18 into 9 and 9. Those 9 play, but they play each other. You take 3 from the other side or 2 from the other side, and then you got a winner from A, B, C, and D, and they play for see which was going to win the national championship. There was something what Coach Bryant was trying to do, forming a super conference years ago, and that way there would not be any committee to making decision. It'd be done on the field. And
Urban Meyer, yeah, I mentioned, Barry said that we need to go, but Urban Meyer leaving, you probably know, did a good job, good football coach, I think. Did a great job at Florida as well. So enough is enough sometimes in this coaching.
Three national championships, and I don't think he lost but 8 games while he was at Ohio State. But it is demanding; it can wear on you, and I'll go back. And I don't know what his situation is there, but during the off season, the alumni groups, this, that, and the other, that everybody wants you to come speak. And I think Coach Saban, once again, in his organization, he's got it to the T. There's certain groups that he goes and speaks to, and he has a limited amount of speaking engagements to people off the field during the off season, and that helps you mentally. But they can wear you down to the bone marrow and the demands on you. And heck, you'll take a break. Like I said, Irvin retires at the end of the bowl game, and Hootie and the Blowfish are coming out of retirement.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank
y'all
you.
have a great week.
Thank you.
Y'all.
All right. Thank you.